Salam.
Pardon my ignorance. Are all the battles in which the Prophet was involved in, the Muslims were significantly outnumbered, or why did you choose this particular one?
No, not all of the battles the Muslims were outnumbered in, but this particular one, they were indeed outnumbered. Right? In other battles, it wasn't the case. But this particular battle of Badr, they were outnumbered.
In this battle of Badr, most of the angels were behind the forces of Muslims, and they were slaughtering the weapons. They could have just wiped them out. Because a single angel would wipe them all out. But they come in different forces, different sizes.
Yeah.
Right?
So the angels were fighting as human warriors. So your point is very good. A single angel could have wiped out the entire army of the enemy. But that didn't happen. Which means that those angels that came down were actually fighting as human warriors. So the damage that a warrior on a horse would do, that was the type of damage that the angels were doing also. Yes, of course, they were much more than 330. They were in their thousands. Yes.
But out of that, 70 were killed.
70 were killed because the rest ran. Yeah, they turned back.
Go question from the front. Right.
So in the battle, the Muhajirin would basically be fighting against their own family members. How did they feel about that?
So in Badr and in many other battles, the companions would actually be fighting against some of their own family members, right? They would be standing up against their own family members. But now things were different. When they took up Islam and they took up the religion and it mixed with their blood and flesh, their family members became their enemies, right? So they were the ones who were actually showing enmity against the Muslims, right? The scholars have said something really beautiful, is that when the Sahaba accepted Islam, when the people accepted Islam, and then they had enmity from amongst their own families, was it Islam that broke up them? Was it Islam that broke up these families? Or was it something else? The scholars said it wasn't Islam that broke them up. What broke them up was the enmity of those people. Where was the hatred and enmity coming from? From those who didn't accept Islam. Those who accepted Islam accepted it on their own free will. Why were they being opposed now? Why could their family members and relatives not understand that this person, by his or her free will and free choice, has come into the fold of Islam? So we should respect that. Right? So because they were not grasping and understanding and appreciating that, then standing up against them became much more easier, because it was those people who were bringing the enmity and hatred, not the Muslims. Otherwise, in the case that we mentioned earlier of Abdullah ibn Ubay, his own son said to the Prophet ﷺ, "Allow me to kill him." And the Prophet said, "No. Enmity is not going to be shown from our side." Is that clear?